Okay folks, Jonathan here, back working on the bike a little bit. A buddy of mine gave me some old Beach Cruiser bars, and just to get an idea of what they would look like. Now they're wide, but and the stance in the center is wide where they bolt on, but yeah, just come sitting up there for the heck of it. But I've got the tank stuck up on there, and I don't really like it. I don't like the size of it. It's bigger than what I want. And I'm going to show you the difference. Here's the difference. Here's was the original design of the tank, which is just about the length, but actually went down about 1.5 inches. And I probably shouldn't have, but I just don't like, there's just too much area here. It's just too big. So we're going to go a little bit smaller with that. And the engine is a little high still, higher than what it's going to be, but you know, it still fills up everything good the way that I want it. So I think we're going to redesign on the tank a little bit. I'm going to cut a little down, and we'll go from there. I still haven't ground the outside edges or anything like that. I wanted to get it up here and get an idea of what it was going to look like, and you know, we'll have to grind it to the contour of the frame, make it go on just like it should. And like I said, I just don't just not happy with the height of it. So alright, let me see if I can cut it down a little bit, redesign it the way I want, and then we'll look at it again. Okay folks, I took off about 1 inch, and I think that's more like it. Looks a lot better to me. I think the lines work out better. So now I'm going to do a bunch of grinding. I'm going to get the other side off. I got to cut it down. I've got to get these exactly right, and then I'll start cutting the pieces that go between them. And what I've done temporary, I just tacked some, I used bolts because I knew, you know, they're all exactly the same length, and I just needed something that, you know, was repeatable there. So I just tacked them in, and as we go, we'll end up cutting them back out. But I think it's coming along pretty good. I think it's going to be just fine like that. Definitely different. That's what we're shooting for anyway. So we'll get on it. Alright folks, I figured I'd show you something I picked up here. I think this is the 56. I'm sure there's plenty of people on here that know, but I think that 56 Fords came down like this, and 55 came down with like the knee knockers, I think. I hadn't even looked online to see, but anyway, I picked this up, and far from perfect, just an old cab. Got a little rust on the bottom, and floors is not too bad, I don't think. But I got the bed fenders, the running boards, the front fenders, no windows in it. The guy claims he has the doors. He's going to bring me the doors. He's actually going to get the frame and drop it off. Well, actually, I've got the frame. I know, because the car that I traded him is missing. I see that now. But what I done was, he was going to take this to the junkyard, and I just traded him a junk car for it that weighed a little more than what he had. That way he could make a little extra money, and I could save this from going to scrap. And I mean, even if it's not ever used, I mean, it's got some good parts on it. Look at dash. Don't know if anything in here goes to it. I know the gas door don't. There's a PTO cover. Probably not, but a few odds and ends. But like I said, you see Bondo in the front fenders. Or that one anyway. Like I said, parts. Like maybe a good rat rod or something for somebody. Let's go look at the frame. I did notice the GM booster and master cylinder somebody's put on it. Okay, here's the frame. Somebody had something in it. V8. No steering box. Got the old straight axle front. So, like I said, I was just trying to save it all. We got to move this thing. He dropped it off. Picked up the junk, you know, the junk car that I traded him. So, it looks like it must have been a Ford engine, because it's got a setup for a front sump. They didn't do a very good job putting it in, but anyway, I don't think I showed or done a video on this one. This is just an old rusty straight 8 Buick, 50 model Buick, just for parts. This was actually a 2-door car, the rusty one here, and somebody had taken a 4-door car, which is what this one is, and cut the roof and stuff off and took the 2-door roof and put on the other car. So this is leftover parts. This is everything that was left over from them building their car. And of course it was going to go to the junkyard, and I ended up getting it. Still got some good pieces and parts. There's some good dash pieces and stuff in there. And I want to take, and I don't think nobody will you know, get too mad at me for this, but I'm going to cut this back off and make another maybe a bench or a love seat. So we'll get some good out of it. And still got the back window. So I mean, there's really not much here, but I mean, you know, it's for me, I don't like this stuff going to the crusher, because once it's gone, it's never coming back. And so maybe we'll use something out of that grill or something, for a couple of the bars are missing anyway. So top one's broke, and the old engine's stuck, so ain't nothing we can do with that. Missing the intake manifold, exhaust manifold also. So, all right, let me get back on this motorcycle. Okay, I'm grinding on this, and just to show you how I'm getting it straight, I've got it parallel in the vise here, and I'm actually going back and grinding it to get it, you know, exactly right from one side to the other. You can see when the bubble moves it, you know, whether you're high or low. And then hopefully it'll be right to contour with the frame, but that's what we're working on now. It's time consuming, a lot of grinding, but you know, it's part of the deal. So we'll keep at it here and show you shortly. Okay folks, I've got one side pretty much done, ground. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lay out this out on a piece of poster board. We'll trace out from the inside, and I'm going to cut a piece that actually fits down inside, and then I'm going to actually taper the edges of it, so when I weld this I can get a really good heavy weld in, penetrate good, and then I can grind it off, and it'll still be totally smooth, but we'll still have a good weld, a good seal. So, and yes, I am building this tank out of 1/8 inch, and because this is actually part of the strength of the backbone. When I bolt it on, it'll help it out. And I don't know if you know, anybody's seen some of the old motorcycles, but some of them didn't have a down tube. Some of them partial down tube come down and bolted to the front of the engine, and then it started back at the back of the engine. So there was no loop underneath. The engine was part of the frame. But so for anybody that says, oh, you know, you're going to break this frame or it ain't going to hold up, because I've heard it all already. It's not going anywhere. And you know what, if it does, I'll be the one on it. So you can laugh at me, but alright, like I said, I'm going to call it a night. It's late, we'll get back on it. Okay folks, new wheels are in. I'm going to stick one of them on the back here, and I'll show you a few things about it. Alright folks, that's the old wheel, there's the new wheel. And of course this is 3/4 inch spokes. They're really heavy, big spokes, and chrome. You know, just not saying that they're stronger. I'm just saying that they're just the looks of them I kind of like. And anyway, like, you know, we're mixing old and new together, so that's what we end up with. But what I done is I built it with these wheels. I don't know what they was off of. You know, wheels that Junior had gave me, but the 3/4 axle, 6.5 inch wide, and that worked out really well because these wheels are narrow glide. So as you can see, they're about 4.5, and that's going to leave me enough room to make spacers, run my sprocket, run a disc brake, and you know, not have any clearance issues, or shouldn't have any clearance issues at all. And I could have got by with them wheels. I just wanted to update to a different style, and I said, well, if I'm going to have to buy them, I'll just buy you know, narrow glide. That way they would be easier to work with, and so that makes it real easy for me. and I still can't get a bolt on sprocket because it's a 530 chain, so I've still got to use a different style sprocket, so I'll have to make an adapter. But I can use a Harley disc brake. It'll bolt right on. Now the front's going to be the same way. The wheel is a double disc brake, and if I only run one disc brake on the front, or if I don't run any at all, there's caps they make that go over that to cover your bolt holes. So we can work with that. But yeah, I think that's going to turn out really well. I like the style of them. I like, you know, they look good. They're shiny. I don't have much shiny stuff, but you know, like I said, I'm trying to do this bike right, and you know, we're going to paint it and make it look good too. So anyway, get a little, move this rim out of the way, get a little look of ways back, and you can get an idea. But should look good when it's done, but we will see. Alright, now it's time to get some rockers together and see if we can go ahead and get this front wheel on, and that'll make it give us a lot better idea. I'm going to go ahead and order the tires and some tubes for it. I think they said that these are actually sealed. You don't have to run tubes, and I think they are. So we may just run tubeless. A couple valve cores and or valve stems and a tire, and or a couple tires, we'll be ready to go. So, all right, show you more as we go. Yeah, I didn't even pay attention. They've already got valve stems in them. They came with bearings and valve stems. So. Okay, folks, just got back off some tows, so I figure I'm going to leave that tank like it is, and just in case I decide I want to change my mind on design or something. But you can tell me what you think. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get work on these rockers and see if I can get something together, maybe tonight on this. And it's already starting to get dark, so it's pretty late. But we're going to try to see if we can get something set up so we can get an idea. Okay, I was planning on machining these out, but I just decided to cut them out. So they're 1 inch thick. I just cut them out with the torch, and they're not perfect, but we're gonna grind the sides of them, and then we'll clamp them together, and then we'll grind them both exact, and then we'll start drilling them and machining them, because they're 1 inch wide, and I got to do part of it back down to 3/4, so it slides back in the forks, and then we've got the bore down in it. So our shocks slide down in, bolt goes through it, and then we've got to do our axle bolt, which is going to be 3/4. And then I'm going to do something a little different in comparison to some. I'll go ahead and explain that to you, and maybe you'll understand why I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So, alright, you figure these are going to be apart. One will slide into each fork. Okay, and what our worry is since we're running 2 separate shocks and we're not running a wishbone up to connect everything together, one will move, the other one won't. Your wheel will lean and actually hit your fork on the inside. I talked to Junior, and Junior said that there was some old setups where he's seen that, you know, happen before. What the plan is, I'm going to bore the hole on each side of this at 3/4 for the axle, and then I'm going to key it, and I'll use a broach and go through it and broach a keyway on each side, and then my axle will be keyed on each side, and that way I can slide it in there and key it so this is all one piece, so this one can't move without that one, and they'll move equally up when you hit a bump or anything. And there's not going to be enough side force, you know, on this to ever give any issues. So should work out really good. But first thing I got to do is get the grinding on it. Okay folks, I didn't get all the grinding done. I got most of it done. It's late. I think I'm gonna call it a night. And I'm gonna go ahead and post this video. I want to get everybody's opinion on this tank, and let me know what you think. And this is actually not much different than the original one. Let me see. Let's see if I can find the pattern for the original tank, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, here's the original. So it's a little bit longer, a little bit taller is all it is. But you know, it basically swooping down here in the front a little bit more. So it's not much different than what I was originally planning. You know, after I shortened it up, of course. But anyway, it's just about time to, you know, start cutting the tops and bottoms and getting everything welded all up. But I just, like I said, I wanted everybody to look at it and see what you think. I mean, I like it. A couple of things I don't like, I'll show you here real quick. Okay, you can see my shape of my frame in comparison to my tank. I think I will come in here and put another plate that actually brings this frame the same angle as this tank. So from the side it won't look so different, which that's not a hard thing to do. It's not a big issue. We can do that with no problem. But anyway, alright, I appreciate everybody watching, and we'll be back on it. We'll get these rockers done, get this other wheel on. Ordered the tires, so they should be here next couple days, and really should start shaping up and looking decent. I can go ahead and get my stuff made for and get a sprocket on it. I've got a sprocket now. Whether I use it or not, I don't know, but I've got one. And let me find it. Okay, I got a new old stock sprocket here, which, you know, we can nickel plate too. Plenty of room in there. Of course, like I said, different bolt pattern. I may be able to drill it out to that bolt pattern, or I can make an adapter, either one. But this is got the 428, which is what I need. And this is an new old stock Suzuki. So I hadn't figured out my gear ratio yet, but I'm going to do that when I do the front pulley. We can change the rear later, you know, if I need to, but I plan on setting that up from the front. The transmission is first gear is a gear reduction, second gear is actually direct drive. So it's a 2-speed, but you know, all you're getting is a split out of it. You're getting a lower gear. But so we'll have to figure out the tire height, total tire height, and then we'll go from there with the RPMs and see what we're going to set it at for speed. And I think it'll work out fine though. And I've got to get some calipers, or some rotors and calipers on the way, and a few other little things. And like I said, you know, I want to make everything I can make, and then just order what I can't make. So, all right, appreciate everybody watching, and till next time, bye.